So what are some of the lessons of being a pilot and building a business, and how are they relatable? I get asked that a lot. Let me just say that flying an airplane is a business. You've got policies, you've got procedures, you've got structure. There's actually laws that we have to abide by, and we have human lives on board. I would say it's actually more important than building a business and having a business, because we actually have, in my case, 350 people on board an aircraft when I'm flying. So how is it like building a business? Well, let's think about this. When you go to the airport next time, I want you to sit at the gate, and I want you to watch and see what happens. I'll give you an example. When I fly a Boeing 777. This aircraft weighs about 600,000 pounds, and it holds roughly about 350 people. This is basically an apartment complex with wings. When it comes up to the gate, you see a whole flurry of people going around this plane, right? What we see is what we call the dance. So what is the dance? Well, the dance is what happens when the aircraft comes to the gate. You've got all the passengers exiting the aircraft. You've got the baggage handlers taking all the bags out of the belly along with cargo. You've got the cleaners inside cleaning the airplane. And then you've got catering is restocking everything in the aircraft. Now, you've got flight attendants doing all the safety checks in the cabin. You've got maintenance walking around the aircraft. They're checking the engines, the wheels, structural integrity of the aircraft, oil, all the stuff that needs to be done. You've got the pilots. We're up in front. We're checking weather. We're checking the flight plan. We're checking winds. We're checking our destination. We're doing our safety checks up in the flight deck. Then you've got fuelers. They're hooking up these huge fuel valves up into the plane. They're pumping. This plane holds about 230,000 pounds of fuel. All of that is getting pushed back up into the aircraft. Okay. Then 350 people get back on the aircraft. All of their bags are loaded back into the belly along with cargo. And within 1 hour, that aircraft pushes back from the gate, and not one person doing their job had to talk with anyone else. Everybody knows their job. So think about that. That is a business dance. What does your business do? Do you have a dance in your business? You do. You may not know it, but you have one. Maybe it's bringing on a new client. Maybe it's handling an order. Maybe it's paying someone. But my point is this dance that airlines do can be done anywhere in the world. It can be done in Tokyo, Japan, Sydney, Australia, London, England, and it's done multiple times a day by all different airlines. Look, if the fueler doesn't do their job and they don't give me enough fuel to get from where I started to where I'm going, it doesn't matter how good I am, doesn't matter how good everyone else's job is, we will not make our destination and we will not be able to complete our mission. My point is that if you have a business and you have an employee that is not doing their job and they are not being held accountable, there's not a checks and balance, and you cannot run that without other people having to interfere and having to talk to them, you've got a problem in your business. A business should run off of policies, off of procedures, and more importantly, off of structure and checklists. Any business can run that way. Airline business, being a pilot, is the most systemized thing. I can get in the cockpit with 12,000 other pilots at the airline I fly, and I know exactly what my job is. They know what their job is in different phases of operation. You've got the pre-flight checks. You've got the before engine start checks, after engine start, taxi out checks. You've got the after takeoff check. We have all these checks that we do. I don't do the after takeoff check when we're sitting at the gate getting the plane ready. Doesn't make sense. It's out of order. People in business do this all the time. They do things out of order and there's no one there to hold them accountable, right? Then we've got emergencies, right? I would say, very respectfully, that if you have an emergency, maybe someone doesn't pay you, maybe you get stiffed on a bill. Yes, that's a problem. My kind of emergency is losing an engine at 37,000 feet because it just caught on fire and I'm over the Pacific Ocean. That is an emergency. Here's the thing though. We as pilots handle emergencies much different than the way you do. The way we handle emergencies is we take a breath, we establish roles and duties, who's doing what. Then we identify the problem, we all confirm it, and then we work towards a solution. We have a very systematic way of dealing with an emergency. It doesn't matter if we have smoke in the cockpit, we have an engine on fire, we lost a wheel, doesn't matter. We still handle emergencies the same way. How do you handle emergencies? How do you train your team to handle emergencies? Do you huff and puff and get all mad and angry and start storming around and heads are going to roll because you're the one who's in charge and how dare they mess up your company? Or do you look at identifying the problem, working together as a team, solving the problem? Look, when we have an emergency, we still have to land the plane. We don't have a choice. We don't get the luxury of not being able to land the aircraft. We have to do what we have to do to be successful and to live. We don't get a smoke break or just go out and vent for a couple hours or just take the day off. We have the problem that we have to deal with, right? Could you imagine if an engine caught on fire and you're on an aircraft and all of a sudden one of the pilots comes storming out of the cockpit and they just need a 15-minute breather, they need to smoke, they need to have a drink because they're dealing with a problem? You would be losing your mind watching that. But yet in your business, you may be the one that does that. You may allow and condone that in your business. But when you think about life or death, which your business is financial life or death, but in our life or death in an aircraft, you would never allow that to happen. So again, remember, that's how a business is very similar to being a pilot and very similar to an airline. You want to see a perfect business? You want to see how a perfect system works? Look at the airline. Yeah, there's challenges and issues, but we deal with weather, we deal with delayed passengers, we deal with maintenance, living, breathing people, all the challenges we deal with. Many variables go into that. What do you deal with? Maybe one or two variables, and you still can't get your shit together to make sure that you're doing everything right? Maybe your business could use help, and you could start looking at an airline to see how they do that and how they systemize it, how they run things, and you'd probably be a lot more successful and more systematized in your business by having someone like me in your business helping and working at it. So that is how being a pilot is similar and helpful in running a business. Hopefully this helps.